So, it's summer. You know what that means. Outdoor get-togethers, barbecues, and all kinds of other stuff. In the heat. With the bugs. And the sun. But it's fun, which is why we go do it. And you know you always have to bring something, but what if you get invited to something last minute and you don't have time to make something huge or even space in a kitchen to make something big? Well, that's where we come in. So the first thing I want to make for you guys is what we call an Italian summer salad. It's a family recipe that's been passed down for, well, generations now on my side. My grandmother made it, my mom made it. I love to make it. It is a tomatoey, garlicky, basil-y, fresh pop of goodness in your mouth on a hot summer day. And it's super easy to make. Check it out. So it's really simple, the ingredients. We've got 4 freshly cut Roma tomatoes. We've got about 2.5 big cloves of garlic that we've cut up. We've got some fresh basil that we pulled from our garden. This is a mix of purple and green. And we've got some cubed up mozzarella cheese. Now, normally, I would recommend you get the wet mozz, but the store didn't have it. So this is an okay substitute. And then finally, some olive oil and a little bit of salt. Let's get mixing. Start off by putting in the tomato. Then we're going to add most of this garlic. We're going to save some of this for another recipe today. There we go. The basil from the garden, again, we're going to use about a little over half of this. Put that right on in. The mozzarella, just toss right on top. Come on, buddy, get out of there. Now, once all this stuff is in, you're going to add about a tablespoon, maybe a tablespoon and a half of a decent olive oil. And then a little bit of salt. I like to kind of pour this out in my hand to pinch it because it is very, very easy to overdo the salt. Then once it's all in, you grab a spoon and you just toss it all together. So what's going to happen is the salt is going to get into the tomatoes and it's going to cause all those juices that are in there to come out and mix with everything else. So you're going to have this wonderful marrying of the flavors, the tomato, the garlic, the basil. Once it's all mixed up, all you have to do now is just cover it, usually with some cling wrap, stick it in the fridge for at least 2 hours, preferably overnight, and you're good to go. Simple as that. We're going to get this covered, get it in the fridge, and move on to our next one. All right, we got our guy covered. We're going to put him in the fridge and let him rest for the night. Don't you complain. Up next is one from my wife's side of the family. It's what she calls an Italian pasta salad. And it's really simple. Come on, check it out. We've boiled up about half a box of some tricolor rotini noodles. You can use any noodle of your choice. To this, we're going to add what's left of those basil leaves that we had before. What's left of that garlic that we had before. We've got 1 diced up Roma tomato. We have here some feta cheese. We're not going to use this whole thing. We're pretty much just going to sprinkle in about half of this guy. You can always sprinkle in more if you need later. And finally, just mix it together with the Italian dressing of your choice. How much dressing do you need? Who knows? It's a mystery. You really just want to stir everything up until everything is coated. And you can always add a little more of the Italian dressing, which I like to do. A little more of the feta cheese, actually, because a lot of it seems to have disappeared. And just like our other tomato salad, once this is all mixed up, we're just going to cover it and stick it in the fridge. Again, you always want to put these in the fridge at least a few hours, but preferably overnight. Failed band. Alright, so our salad's covered. We're going to stick it in the fridge and move on to the next one. So there's a couple of really easy, really simple salads. But what if salads are already taken on the RSVP? Or they say, oh, we've got that, but we really need a dessert. Well, it's summer. You can't bring ice cream, it's going to melt. You can't bring something with frosting because that'll melt. Other stuff is just going to get soggy if it's really humid. So what do? Well, I'm actually really proud of us here at Tiny Kitchen because we've come up with a new dessert that you can bring to these summer get-togethers. And we're calling it Honey Crunch. So what is Honey Crunch? Well, it's really simple. It's one of those I have to put something together but don't have anything, so let's see what's in my pantry kind of recipes. Or kitchen MacGyvering, as I like to call it. So this one is going to start off with 1.5 cups of pretzels, which we're going to lightly crunch or mash down. 1.5 cups of chips, which we're going to try to leave as is. You can always put in more if you need to. 1 cup of peanuts. I've got some honey roasted peanuts here. And then 1/4 cup of honey. You're going to want to warm this up before you use it. We're going to start by putting in our pretzels. And before we do anything else, we're going to give them a light crumble. I am using the weirdest potato masher in the world because it's what I have on hand. One of the other reasons that we're actually crumbling these is if you go to put these in whole, they'll either stack on top of each other too much or take up too much space in the cups, which is not what we want. So a simple, good crush is just about what we need there. Then we're going to put in our potato chips. Like I said, we're going to leave these as whole as we can. Then our cup of honey roasted peanuts. Once all that's in, we're going to take our 1/4 cup of honey. Now we've warmed this up so it's a little more liquidy. And we're going to drizzle it across the whole thing and give it a good stir. Get in there, every drop. For this, I like to use the silicone spatula because this is going to get sticky quickly. And you want something that's not going to stick to it. So we're basically going to start by just folding everything together, trying to integrate as much of the honey, peanut, and chip mixture as possible. Once it looks and feels like everything is lightly coated and everything is fairly mixed evenly, we're going to take this and we're going to put it into some cupcake holders. Okay, so now that everything is mixed up, we've got our oven preheated to 350. We're going to scoop this out into our cupcake holders and we're going to bake this for anywhere from 8 to 10 minutes. Basically, once you start to smell the honey in the air, they're good to come out. So, let's get scooping. So our first batch here made about 11, and you can always alter this however you want to. You could use a different peanut, different chip, whatever it might be. We're going to go ahead and bake these for about 8 minutes, and we'll see them on the other side. Is that a good transition? Will that one work? I'm being told that'll work. Okay. So it's been about 8 minutes, and we went ahead and pulled these out of the oven. Like I said, know these are ready because the air starts to smell like honey and deliciousness. We're going to let these guys cool, and we're going to try them out in a bit. Now, the other thing to remember about these is that these are best served same day. So if you have something in the afternoon, do this a little bit before you go, and these will still be perfectly fine. After about a day or so, some of it starts to get a little tacky. It's still perfectly fine, but not crunch. And it's called Honey Crunch. You need the crunch. So our Honey Crunches have had a chance to cool, and they came out amazing. They're a little sticky, a little crunchy, a little goopy. They are phenomenal. If you wanted to, you could fancy them up a little bit. You could put a little bit of salt on it. You could do a little sprinkle of sugar, whatever it is you wanted to do. But it's a great little cluster crunch of just goodness. So I'm going to eat this one, and the crew can have whatever's left, which will probably be like 1 or 2. Rolling around at the speed of sound. Oh, so it's tomorrow, and we are ready to try out our salads. The Italian pasta salad, is looking really good. So let's just go ahead, get a nice bite of this one. Get a little bit of everything on that fork. Let's give it a go. It's a nice, light, tangy flavor that would go really, really well with, well, whatever you're going to have off the grill. Burgers, hot dogs, chicken, sausages, even some nice grilled veggies. That is always a winner. All right, now, the tomato summer salad. What I like to do, normally, we would get a nice crispy bread, a nice crusty bread, and we would use that. We don't have crusty bread right now. A cracker will work just fine. Make sure we get a little bit of everything on there, and give it a go. So the garlic and the tomato and the basil, they all just play so well off of each other. The salt brought out all the wonderful juices and flavors of the Roma tomatoes that we put in there. And the best part is, once all of the chunks of things are out of the bowl, you've got this wonderful, just delicious soup left at the bottom. You can soak it up in the bread. I've been known to just kind of eat it with a spoon. It's delicious. It's fantastic. All of these together didn't take that long to make. You throw some stuff in the bowl, you set it in the fridge overnight, you're good to go. Now, these recipes are so simple for you, but they will wow everybody that you bring them to. So, try these out, play with them, do whatever you want, experiment. That's the joy of cooking. And just have fun. Have a great summer, and for what you just stay inside. Just stay inside. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stay inside.